At this point, I honestly think that DC Comics is trolling us with these young adult novels. At this point, I actually think that DC Comics is trolling us with these young adult novels. Hey, True Believers, Englandine here with a short review, I guess, of this new young adult novel, Whistle. And I got to tell you, man, I got this thing. I'm like, woo, all right, we got a new young adult novel here just to go off on. Because these things, for a lot of them, have just been cringe city. And I got to tell you, the last one with I'm Not Starfire, holy crap, that was bad. So I grabbed this. We saw the opening. Woo, gentrification so bad, which, by the way, I do not agree with. I come from a neighborhood that went the other way. I grew up in a place here called Pine Hills, which is now known as Crime Hills in Chopper City. And I got to tell you something. You want it to go in the gentrification way other than the other direction. So I'm not with them on this whole, oh my gosh, they're cleaning up the streets and bringing in jobs. It's not a bad thing. Oh my gosh, they're bringing in drugs and guns and bullets. That tends to be a little bit harsher when it comes to the crime and such. So there is that politics here, and it is the central theme of the story, this whole let's fight the gentrification thing. And I'm going to get to that in a little bit because there's a lot to talk about on this. I got to tell you, I started reading this book, and yes, I am fired up. I am fired up to tell you about how much this book sucks, about how terrible it is, and about how it freaking is just one in a long line of young adult novels that just, is this where we really want the new readers to start from? The what was that? The Aquaman was horrible. The Batman in Japan was horrible. The I Am Not Starfire was horrible. It's horrible introductions to these wonderful characters. This one, on the other hand, is Whistle, and it's an original character. I'm not a big fan of it starting in Gotham either. And here's the reason why. Not because any other reason than I think it would be nice to have an original character in an original place like it used to be. But that's a very small nit to pick. We meet Whistle. She's a young kid, and she is a bit of an activist, and she is protesting with her sign about gentrification. That being said, she quickly drops it when her interests are turned elsewhere. So they're not making a hero out of an Antifa character or anything like that. It's just a normal kid who saw a cause. And let's face it, as a young kid, occasionally you have your causes. And we get to know her a little bit, and she goes to school. We meet her friend, and I'm like, oh, here we go. Okay, here comes as we all know, the gay best friend who is a hugely offensive homophobic stereotype that they've been putting into comics these days. But no, it's just a regular kid who is kind of got a crush on Whistle. And this is something that's a story that goes throughout. And I got to tell you, he's neither a simp either, because when Whistle treats him bad, he's like, nope, I got to step back now. Granted, I'm not going to spoil the ending. They get together. So she is part of this whole protest thing, and her mother's sick, so she needs to get a job, and the job begins to take over and everything. And her mother has a friend, Edward. Guess where this is going? And her friend sends a little riddle. You getting there? And she solves it, goes over, and he says he's got a job. And it's not quite legal. Well, she needs money to help out her mom because they're not rich, and she takes the job. Now, here's something I thought was very interesting, is the fact that we actually follow the story. She's becoming a criminal. And I thought that would have been a better story in the end, but we're going to get to it. And by the way, have you noticed how the tone has changed? Yes, it will. Whistle is a normal girl, and she is tempted by Edward Nygma, and she ends up meeting Pamela Isley. And you got to remember that this is not in usual continuity. And she takes this job and she's making money and she's helping out the family. She's got stuff finally, and she could buy food that she wants finally. And let's face it, I can eat ramen and hamburger all day, but occasionally you want something a little bit better. And so she does take this job, and she forgets about the protest because it's benefiting her. And I really like that part. She has an accident where she gets superpowers. Okay. And she starts using, and the superpowers are dog powers, and she could speak to her dog. So she starts hearing behind the scenes stuff that Ed and Pamela are talking about. And they're sure she's like, okay, well, look, if bringing money is okay, it helps people, you know, so she kind of goes back on the protest stuff. But then when she hears the nefarious plans and all that kind of, okay, maybe they're villains, and I should help stop them and such like that. So I had a problem here, and I was like, okay, wait a second here. You're not going to tell me that this little girl with dog powers is going to beat the Riddler and Pamela Isley, who's beating up the Batman. Well, in all honesty, there's not a lot of proof that Batman's around here. But the thing is, once again, other continuity. But I started thinking about it when I was a young teen, you know, the 12 to 15 age. There was a title called Power Pack, where Power Pack would beat up villains who are already established and more powerful and all that kind of stuff. It don't really bother me. One thing I had to disassociate myself with as far as this book is concerned is it's not written for me as a 50-year-old man. As a 50-year-old man, okay, let's go at it. As a 50-year-old man, this book unfortunately has a lot of story structure problems. I do believe it takes forever. It's like this is 140 pages, I think. It's a graphic novel. It's 140 pages, and we don't even get started. She doesn't even get the job until like 50 or 60 pages in. So, oh my gosh, it takes forever. Also, this whole evil landlord wants to buy out the neighborhood. There's no real thought to it because, once again, it's great. Yeah, color is great when you're young and you want the neighborhood to be the neighborhood. But we do need jobs. We do need money. We do need security and safety. And occasionally, as you grow up, you get a little money in your pocket, and you're able and willing to pay for that because you know what it's like to be not safe, or at least I do, you know, if you grow up around a place called Crime Hills. So I couldn't quite get into that very much. Not that part anyway. As a 50-year-old man, this book has a lot more flaws than when I thought, wait a second. As a teenager, it doesn't fall into this. We've seen this story, by the way. This is RoboCop 3 with a girl with dog powers. That's it. It's the same story. If they had a robot ninja, they might actually have been sued for plagiarism or something like that. We've seen this thing a bajillion times. But once again, that comes from being an old man. You get the same story told to you. You can't watch an underdog sports team win the big game so many times before you know how it's going to end. And yeah, I kind of felt that. But once again, what I'm trying to get at, though, is other than those little nitpicks that I just said as a 50-year-old man, this is the kind of book we're asking for. And look, let me explain. Okay, everybody calm down. Take a breath of oxygen. This has been the kind of book we've always been asking for. This is not for a 50-year-old man. This is not for adult. This is for the young adult. This is for the 12 to 15 set. This is the starter set. This is the origin story where they come in, they beat up a villain, and yeah, Ivy's more powerful, but it's the Riddler. Okay, it's not like she's going up against Bane, or one punching a Sentinel or something like that, like we see over in Marvel. It sets up its world okay. I think, actually it does a little better than okay. It takes like 60 pages setting up its world. It sets up the story. You care for the character, but it also introduces you to other characters that are in DC Universe. So that throws that Gotham thing. Oh, I would love to see an original. No, This tells a decent story for a kid. This introduces the comics to a kid just fine. And I think it also introduces to a couple of characters to maybe get them into comics. It doesn't talk down to them. It's beyond the gentrification thing, which once again, I don't agree with. There's not a whole bunch of politics thrown in your face. The characters are normal. They act normal. They're not preachy. This isn't a book that's trying to indoctrinate. I can't say the word. You know what I'm trying to say. Indoctrinate. Is that really just indoctrination? I'm saying something wrong. You guys are going to correct me. Anyway, I'm not editing that part out. But I was actually surprised at this. For a young adult, I really recommend this book. For an adult, and I mean 20 and up, this ain't for you. I think you're going to see all the problems that are with it. It's just not going. Maybe if you're around 20 or something, but once you get more cynical in life, I don't think this book's for you. Otherwise, if you got a kid, if you got a teenager, especially a young lady, I don't think that this will be the worst way to get them to read and to get them into DC Comics. But that's just my opinion. What is yours? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, ring that notification bell if you haven't done it already. Make sure that you set notifications to all and all that kind of stuff. And if you don't mind helping out the channel, click like and comment. And if you don't mind helping out the channel financially, there's a Ko-Fi link. Thank everybody who's already done that. And to everyone, all of the true believers, don't turn off. Watch one of the videos that are popping up here. And thank you very, very much for watching.